So I just want to take a moment and thank you guys for taking the time to be with us today. Today's webinar is Outsourcing for Your Organization, where we hope to share why outsourcing your business's accounting and HR functions can be beneficial. Before we start today, I just wanted to inform everyone on the call of a few housekeeping items. Starting with today's presentation is being recorded, and you will receive a copy of the slide deck after today's presentation. In addition, there is going to be a Q&A box that is located on the bottom right of your screen. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm going to go ahead and monitor the Q&A, and if there is a break during the presentation, we'll be able to address your question right away. If for some reason we do not get that break, don't worry about it. There's going to be a Q&A portion after the presentation that we can ensure that your questions will be addressed. At the conclusion of today's webinar, there will be a brief survey just to kind of help us better understand how we can serve you. Before we start today's presentation, let me take a brief moment to allow our expert panelists to introduce themselves. And I'll start with Matt Lane.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it. And again, to echo Matt, thank you, everyone in our attendee list for taking some time to spend with us today. Really appreciate having you. My name's Matt Lane. I'm the Director of Client Accounting and Advisory Services here at Suttle. I've been with the firm around 7 months. Coming from a lot of different industries, I've got a background in a lot of different service industries that have participated in outsourcing, insurance, a lot of different things, benefit management. But one of the things that I bring is a lot of experience, managing client relationships. I've worked for 2 publicly traded organizations that are national and in some cases multinational. So I'm excited to be here at the firm, excited to be with you today to talk a little bit about outsourcing, and look forward to any questions you have and hopefully serving you in the future. So I am going to now pass it over to Steve Morgan, who just joined us. Steve is a partner in our firm and going to be talking to us about some CFO services later. So, Steve, I'll pass it over to you.
All right. Good morning. Can you hear me? All right. I'm sorry. You talk about technical difficulties at the wrong time, but it never seems to fail. But let me just tell you a little bit about myself right quick. Happy to be here. Happy to finally have joined. But my name is Steve Morgan. I actually grew up in Connecticut. I spent several years in Texas. Currently live in Mineral Wells, West Virginia with my wife. We have 2 grown kids that are giving us granddaughters now. And so we currently have 3 granddaughters and 1 granddaughter on the way that we're really excited about. I've been with Suttle Stalnaker since 2014. He actually joined the firm in December 2014. Prior to that, I spent a lot of years in higher education, both in a not-for-profit and state sectors, and served in various roles from executive vice president to CFO to vice president for finance to dean of the business school, and just taught several classes. My passion, if you can't tell, is talking, is teaching, and helping and working with others. So I'm really excited about being able to do that here at Suttle Stalnaker, and looking forward to spending a few minutes with you all today.
I'm Drema Foster. I've been at Suttle for a little over 11 years now. I've worked in human resources for 25 plus years, and currently the Chief Operating Officer at the firm. So my duties include not only operations, but all of the human resources functions for the firm, as well as heading up our outsourcing HR services for our clients that fall under this client accounting umbrella. And so with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Saundra, who is a partner in charge of our client accounting and advisory services.
Thank you. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I was born and raised in Jackson County and graduated from Ripley High School. I was active in 4-H, FFA, band, church. I attended WVU, and I actually have a degree in agriculture and a degree in business administration, and I'm a big Mountaineer fan. Now I live in Charleston with my husband and my 3 kids. I really enjoy reading and the outdoors. And my personal passion is watching my kids as they grow up, and all that entails, including lots of time spent watching them play soccer, tennis, or swimming. I actually just had my 28-year work anniversary with Suttle Stalnaker, so my resume is much shorter than the other panelists because I have been here my whole professional career, which I think says something about the firm itself, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. My experience with Suttle Stalnaker has been pretty broad. I started in the audit department for a couple years and then transitioned to client accounting. And at that time, it was called bookkeeping or small business services. And I also work in the tax realm. And I am looking very much forward to sharing my work passion with you today during this presentation, which is the client accounting services.
All right, and Saundra, if you want to go ahead and get us started, you have control.
Okay. I am going to talk about who we are at Suttle Stalnaker, and since I've been here for so long, I think that's why it fell to me. I'm going to give you some brief highlights on what is probably one of West Virginia's best kept secrets, which is Suttle Stalnaker. And I have some graphics for you. Suttle Stalnaker is a CPA firm that was founded in Charleston, West Virginia in 1973 by Jack Suttle and David Stalnaker. And I personally was fortunate to have worked with both of these fine men before they retired. And with that background, I do feel that they have set us up for success with their commitment to their clients and their employees and the community. And I think that we're still living these ideals today. We have offices now. We've expanded beyond the Charleston office to add a Morgantown and Parkersburg office. And we are serving clients in these areas, but beyond West Virginia, in Virginia, Ohio, and beyond. And through technology and the ability to work remotely with clients, geography really is not the constraint that it once was. Our success over the years has earned us the distinction for several years, including 2022, being ranked as a Inside Public Accounting Top 400 accounting firm. Another key to our success is that we are a member firm of Allennial Global, which is a group of respected accounting firms throughout the nation and international. And this membership enhances Suttle Stalnaker by aligning us with a lot of resources and other CPAs and their experience. Allows us to have tools, training, technology, and benefit from thought leadership that maybe we don't have within our 4 walls, but we have access to. We have 49 years of serving clients. We are currently gearing up to commemorate and celebrate our 50th anniversary in 2023. Hard to believe. We have grown, and we have 13 partners, 51 managers, staff, and staff accountants, managers, seniors, and staff accountants. And within my department, we have 13 fully dedicated to the client accounting services. And we have 15 admin and support staff. I wanted to pause here and point out that these include 3 IT professionals, which in this day and age is very critical to our success. And Matt Holstein, who led us off, is our marketing director. And just to emphasize that this is not, his sole role is not to just try to attract new clients and business for us, but he really helps internally with internal marketing and making it a better place for our employees to work, And also, most importantly, I feel adding value to our existing clients through timely articles that we publish on our website and social media. And we are proud that we have 40 CPAs in the firm, and very proud that we have 2 recipients of the Elijah Watt Sales Award, which probably nobody knows what that is. But we have 2 current employees who basically aced the CPA exam. And I think this is an example of how we attract talent. And one of our goals as a firm is to be the employer of choice. So I think what I've explained about the firm, who we are, it's a win-win for our clients because you benefit from the small firm feel. You have a relationship, personal, direct, close relationship with the professionals on your team, but also the benefit of having the resources of a larger firm. And whenever you are hiring the team at Suttle Stalnaker, beyond working with the people on a day-to-day basis, we have all of these other professionals and all this talent and experience standing behind us. So we have a lot of services that we offer, and I'd like to do an overview of some of the many services. We are a full-service accounting firm, and we offer the compliance services that an accounting firm normally is associated with, like tax returns and audits and payroll taxes. Of course, we deliver those with the highest quality standards, but we have so much more value to add and can go above and beyond with advisory services, consulting. 2 good examples in that area that recently affected us was the Paycheck Protection Program, consulting with different COVID provisions, succession planning, business valuations, estate planning, and virtual CFO and controller, and human resources advisory services. And these added value areas that I mentioned, going beyond the compliance services, which that list was not all inclusive, but these are probably the areas that you may be missing out on or neglecting to some extent, or you're flying by the seat of your pants. And this would be a real opportunity for you to benefit from our expertise in these areas. And I think now I'm going to turn it over to Matt Lane.
Thank you, Saundra. Appreciate that. It was a great overview of the firm. So the next couple of sections, we're going to look at the benefits of outsourcing. Here at Suttle, we believe in outsourcing. We believe in the product that we provide. Of course, as we go to the next slide, the benefits, those are going to depend largely upon your organization and what your goals are, what your needs are. So what we've sort of done here is, in our discussions with different clients and in our experience, we've kind of focused in on 4 areas that we think are kind of a common thread that all of our clients seem to benefit when we're doing outsourcing. The first one is process efficiencies. This one is one we really dial into. So our goal is not just to turn over numbers. We want to, and you'll find this in initial phone calls that we'll have, we want to know about your organization, about your business. We want to know what your passion is, and what, we'll use that to then sort of to angle and leverage our professionals and our technology to help you achieve and create goals and goal setting, which we'll talk a little bit more about later in the presentation. So as far as process efficiencies, we feel like that once you have an outside eye that's looking at your processes, kind of given a different objective view of your operation, that's going to lead in growth. That's going to lead in different areas that you may be looking for as far as making your business better and achieving your optimum capacity and your expectation. The next area, looking at transparency and technology. As we've seen in these last few years with the pandemic, and I know Saundra touched a little bit on it with technology, is technology, while it was a key asset before, I think that we've even shot up light years ahead in the last few years. We've learned that webinars and meetings such as this can be very productive, and in a lot of ways are part of life now. So we're going to leverage technology to meet your needs, to be able to meet with you regularly, to give you documentation, your financials, to meet with you on advisory sessions. We're also going to provide dashboards, if depending on your service that you elect into, that are going to let you be able to at any time click on and kind of get a bird's eye view of your business right in an immediate point in time. So definitely we invest a lot in technology. We have some folks that are experts, and we spend time going to conferences and researching for cutting edge. So we believe that's another benefit of outsourcing, is that we're looking at technology in different sectors and areas that will not only help our firm, but to help us to serve you down the line. Our next component that we're going to look at as far as a benefit is core operations. So a lot of folks, they find that the accounting, the financial advising, they know it's important, but it just you have to have not only a knowledge but a real insight and passion for it. And we want to be able to handle that for you, to be able to look at your data, which we'll talk about in a few slides, some of the tools that we'll use. Look at your data and present it to you in an understandable manner to where you can know the direction of your business. You can kind of see where you're at and tell a story. The data is great and wonderful, but you have to be able to present it understandably. And we want to be able to do that, allowing you time to focus on your passion, on what you like to do to serve your clients, or whatever that will be, to serve your board of directors, whatever your business sector is. And lastly, another benefit is expertise and experience. And I know Saundra talked a little bit about that. Again, we're approaching 50 years here at Suttle. We have a wealth of experience. And one thing that the firm has done over the last few years is, the misnomer is, it's just accountants and just CPAs. But as Saundra mentioned, we are incorporating more aspects to that. We're building an HR team that Drema is working with, and we'll talk a little bit more about later. We've got some IT professionals that are out there, looking for the firm, working exclusively for that. And we've really invested a lot in that. And in our other areas, folks like myself who may not directly have an accounting background, we're bringing in teams of folks that have different aspects and different experience, again, to enrich and make the outsourcing product better than it's ever been. So not only are you going to be getting some of these other items that we've talked about, but just the raw experience is something that is invaluable, that definitely we'll be able to take advantage of. So now that we've looked at the benefits, or kind of honed in on the areas that we find are the most common benefits, I want to take a couple slides and look at tools for outsourcing. Now, we've kind of simplified the different things that we do here for the sake of time, but as far as achieving the best out of an outsourcing partnership, we're looking at 4 different categories: technology, compliance, data, and reporting. And the next couple slides, you're going to see technology and compliance will kind of fit a little bit together, as will data and reporting. So looking at technology and compliance, again, as I've talked a little bit about so far, and Saundra touched on, we really believe in leveraging very heavy on technology. We're going to conferences, and we know and we're investing time in to learn how these different technologies can increase the efficiencies, not only for basic accounting work, but in human resources and financial management, and with our different relationships, not only in the community as far as clients, but with our accounting partners in a lineal global, we're able to research. If you've got an area of your business that even isn't directly related to accounting, we may have other clients or just kind of use networking to be able to help you answer other questions. So we really want to focus on customer service, and even if it's not a functional area, we want to be able to provide you direction in any area of your business and kind of be an ear to help you out. Compliance is one. Again, we're going to leverage that technology to help with compliance, but accounting firms have probably more oversight and checks and balances than many other industries out there. So you're going to have a peace of mind that we're going to know deadlines, we're going to know legal, tax, and governmental regulations. As Saundra mentioned, some of the things that came out of COVID, PPP loans, economic recovery credits. These are things that we have professionals that studied up on and that are currently helping our clients. So we definitely are using different continuing education to learn more about some of those governmental programs. Last two tools of outsourcing, again, they're going to fit together, data and reporting. So data is going to be your actual metric. It's going to be, the number of widgets you produce or the number of students you have or any of those things. So those are things we are going to track. We're going to help you. We're going to look at industry standards of other clients to be able to accumulate the right amount of data. And reporting is kind of the next feature of that, because as I mentioned earlier, you're going to use that raw data to be able to tell a story, and that's where reporting comes in. So reporting is so important because that's when we actually take the data and we make it actionable. We make it something to be able to assist you to have strategic plans, to plan how to grow your business and where to go, kind of how to leverage your business and your strengths. This is kind of a statement of purpose for us in client accounting and advisory as far as our outsourcing, because we believe that outsourcing is going to give you new ideas. We're going to have a different outside perspective, and we're going to give you an advantage because we're going to promote compliance. So we're going to make sure that your taxes are paid. We're going to make sure that any of those deadlines or new governmental programs are taken advantage of. And those things, coupled with some of the other benefits we talked about, are going to lead to high growth. Our goal is really to continue to challenge, to test the envelope, and to help you grow and maximize your potential. The remaining part of the presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about each of our individual areas. So partnering with Suttle, we've talked about a lot of different areas so far: technology, wealth of experience. But the next few slides, we want to really dive into how Suttle can help you in your business. So the three areas that we really focus on are accounting, which a lot of folks may know that as bookkeeping in the past. It now encompasses a lot more than just your basic bookkeeping, but that's sort of the common name that it's known as. And that, combined with taxes and audit, are sort of the common areas that folks think of when they think of accounting firms. As we've talked to clients over the years, we've noticed that there's a really big need in financial management, advisory, and human resources. So those are two newer areas that we've really chosen to focus on. The human resources, again, that's a big area, especially now in the job market. We're having more openings. You've got more competition to recruit good talent. Financial management, that's we kind of refer to that as a CFO level service. So it's above sort of the bookkeeping, and it's kind of looking at the grand landscape of your business, of your financials, and it's helping you by not only being a soundboard and listening to ways to improve efficiencies, but it's also looking at that strategic planning and helping you to craft that. And that's so important for the longevity of a business and to promote growth. So in our client accounting and advisory, we do have the three separate arms. We have client accounting services, which Saundra will speak on. Steve is going to talk about our outsourced CFO and controller services. And then Drema will speak on our human resource services. And as Matt said, I know there's a lot on this slide as far as some of the areas and different functions that they do. This presentation, as Matt said, will be provided to you. So if there's something that you miss on this, you should get a copy of this. And I hope that you'll keep this presentation and be able to refer back to it. So if you have questions later on, or if there's any way that we can help you, we'll have some contact information later in the presentation. So now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Saundra, who's going to talk about client accounting services.
Thank you. Client accounting services, as Matt mentioned, is formerly known as bookkeeping or write-up in the CPA language. But it is so much more than that, and it has evolved over the years. There have been lots of changes during the time that I have worked in this area, more than 26 years, and almost all of it's been really good. It's been progress, and as of right now, this is kind of a quick list of things that we are currently providing, services that we're providing for our clients, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about that and how we provide these services. We have a technology stack that we have vetted and that we feel is the right stack of technology to use to deliver the best service for our clients. And so we are QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online experts, and it's not just that we know how to use it. We can customize it for our clients and help them optimize how they are utilizing this. We do setup, we do training and ongoing support if a client is using the software and needs assistance, and otherwise do consulting with our clients on how best to use the software. We also use it internally for our firm, so that tells you how much we believe in this product. We use Paychex for processing payroll and payroll taxes, and beyond that, we really understand payroll and payroll taxes. So if push came to shove, we could explain any of the payroll taxes, payroll deductions, and whether they're pre-tax, after-tax, how they'll show up on your W-2. So we have the knowledge and the technology in the payroll area. And the firm also internally is using Paychex, so that tells you that we are committed to making this work. We have, in the past 2+ years, spent a lot of time educating ourselves on all the different pandemic payroll provisions, and have really, I think, helped our clients survive or even thrive during the pandemic by taking advantage of this relief that was so needed. We also have management meetings with our clients, and this is kind of overlapping a little bit in one of the other areas that Steve is going to talk about. So I'll try to stay in my lane, Steve, and talk more about client accounting services. So the meat of it would be this next bullet point here, back office support, including payroll processing and tax reporting and payments, all of which we try to do electronically, automated bill pay and invoicing, and bank reconciliations, which we utilize syncing with your bank and your credit cards so that manual entry is a thing of the past. And we prepare financial statements, which everyone's familiar with that, and B&O and sales tax reporting, and we also try to do that electronically. So I want to give you an example of just one client that I just picked somewhat at random to tell you about. It's a nonprofit in Charleston, and we use QuickBooks for them, and I don't believe we've converted their payroll to paychecks yet, so we're still using QuickBooks for that and the payroll taxes. But this particular client has a lot of grants and a lot of moving parts, and our expertise is helping them by setting up QuickBooks so that it really is giving them the information that they need when they need it. We set up budgets, tweaked the chart of accounts, implemented class tracking in QuickBooks, and all that facilitates them and their grant reporting, which is pretty rigorous, and reporting for management and their board of directors. And to break it down to the small parts, we do payroll, we do accounts payable, we do their bank reconciliations, monthly financial statements, and we provide audit assistance because of the funding that they get. They are required to have an annual audit, which we can't do because we're not independent, but we facilitate that and assist the auditors by providing the information that they request. And beyond that, which kind of does get out of my lane slightly, although they chose not to pursue any of the COVID pandemic provisions, we did discuss those with them and made sure that they were aware of them because of their grant funding that already funded their payroll. They did not feel that they should take advantage of those, but it was something that we offered to them. So just in a general sense, here are just some examples of the accounting services that we are providing. Payroll and bill pay, try to do that as electronic and automated as possible. Bank reconciliations with the bank feeds directly from the bank. Month-end close, which may be kind of an umbrella that would encompass financial statement preparation, bookkeeping cleanup, work on the chart of accounts, and then invoicing and accounts receivable management, and then compliance reporting, such as payroll taxes, consumer sales tax, B&O reporting, Secretary of State annual filings, workers' comp audits, really anything that an internal accountant or controller would do, we can step into those shoes. You can outsource all of these functions. You can outsource part of these functions. So it's not an all or nothing thing. In many cases, we are augmenting the internal staff that our clients have. And as mentioned previously, we do have 13 fully dedicated staff in our CAS department, in addition to many others in the firm that contribute to providing these services. So we do have the bench strength, and we have turnover like every other employer, but with that large, robust staff, we feel that we can seamlessly take care of your client accounting service needs. I'm not very good at switching slides, sorry. Client accounting services touches on many, many different industries. These are just some examples of kind of areas that we have just found that we are concentrated in. professional service firms like attorneys and doctors and consulting firms make up a large portion of our clients, retail businesses and restaurants and construction, and we do serve many nonprofit entities with client accounting services. So there is some overlap in the different areas because we are part of your accounting department, and your accounting department may include a bookkeeper, an accountant, a controller, a CFO. But what we like to do is automate and leverage technology, which enables us to provide what we think is the most professional, efficient service to you while making the best utilization of our staff. And these are some of the software solutions that we've landed on. And all of these have been evolving during my career here. And there's more that are not on the slide. But like I said, we use QuickBooks. We try to file our taxes electronically. We use a service for W-2 preparation. Melio is something you may not be familiar with, but it's a very powerful tool for electronic bill pay that integrates with QuickBooks and synchronizes with your bank account. We have the IT professionals, and we have a lot of security surrounding all of these technology solutions, so you can feel assured that your information is safe. We have a password manager that requires dual authentication, and we use Citrix if we're going to send email anything that makes it secure and encrypted. I think one of the things that's changed the most during my career is technology and what it has enabled us to do. One thing that it has enabled us to do is meet the needs of our clients and the desires of our clients. We all know that people want real-time information. They don't want to wait. And using this technology enables us to do that, as opposed to at the beginning of my career where everything was after the fact, historical information. It was not real-time. And it also sets us up so that the services we provide can add more value to your business and be more of an advisory type service. And if you have any questions now or after the presentation, please reach out to me so that we can talk more about this. These are just some examples of utilizing technology with the meetings, optimizing how we're using QuickBooks to deliver information to the client, and not only information, but accurate and complete information. And then in the bottom right corner is an example of Melio and how easy it is to use electronic bill pay that is integrated with QuickBooks. So I think modern client accounting, call it outsourced accounting, is really bookkeeping on steroids, and us leveraging technology and automation when it makes sense. And I cannot think of anything more important. Everything we do is important, but I can't think of anything more important than having timely and accurate financial information on which to base your business decisions. And this allows you to not only look back, like we've always been able to do, but also look ahead and plan for the future.
All right, we're going to shift gears probably into more of the non-traditional things that you probably haven't heard yet. Most of what you've heard so far is probably what you think of when it comes to a traditional public accounting practice and the compliance work that is done within the practice, and the tax, the audit, the bookkeeping, and all of those types of things. So what we're going to do now and for the remainder of the session here is kind of split time between what we refer to as the advisory service side of CAS. And so, we have client accounting and advisory services. And typically when Drema and I are able to talk to folks about what these entail, the most common response that we often hear is, we didn't know you guys did that. And a lot of times it's because it's just the association with the public accounting. But as firms grow and as they get larger, the consulting and advisory services become more a part of what they do. And so one of the great benefits of CAS and working with CAS is the opportunity to add a layer to your financial management practice, as Matt referred to it earlier, in looking at the CFO and controller type of work. And so I want to take a look at a slide that basically just says outsource CFO, and it kind of stacks. And so just to get you to think for a moment about your work and what you're doing. Typically when you move into a larger organization, you have a financial accounting department, you have a structure, you might have a CFO, a controller, and several bookkeepers under them. The smaller organizations tend to get, the more often the top layers of this are neglected. And so what you're basically doing from day to day is just running, trying to keep up with your bookkeeping, trying to keep up with the accounting service, making sure you're billing folks, collecting, and different elements, meeting payroll and those kinds of things. And the layers that are neglected are the reporting and the strategy layers. And so really from the CFO seat, what can be offered in terms of actually addressing these issues for organizations is a strategic component to managing your financial operation. And so oftentimes when we think under here, we think of the different types of services, the strategic planning, the budgeting, key performance indicators, different things to look at. And one of my favorite questions to ask folks is, when you're not there anymore, what's going to happen? In other words, what's your end game? Where are you trying to go? What's your exit strategy, succession planning, just all of these different things that are never really thought about in a day-to-day operation of a business. And so, we can step in and provide this budget guidance, forecasting of cash flows, internal control evaluation of different systems. Preparation of financial statements is one that we would probably plug more into the controller service, that reporting function, help you analyze the financial statements, what they're saying, kind of forecast for the future, and just think bigger picture. We have several engagements where we basically just serve as a CFO for organizations that have accounting departments inside the organization. So we basically step in and add that strategic layer. Basically, we can provide coaching to accounting teams, staff, and just make sure that function's flowing, but actually take that next level step up where we say, now, what do we do with the information and how do we use it to plan as we move forward? So why do organizations not have CFOs? Why do they not have controllers? Oftentimes it's not because they don't want them. More often it's probably because they think they can't afford them. And so how are we going to pay for it? We're barely getting by with everything that we're doing. It's another similarity that I think in the advisory world that Drema and I have in common. If you're going to neglect something, why not? Well, we won't worry about the financial strategy right now, or we won't worry about the human resource compliance because we have to keep our focus over here. And so one of the things that can happen as you outsource this type of function is you bring that expertise in reality with people that are stronger than maybe you would be able to hire inside an organization. One of the things that we often find is that there are CFOs or controllers in title inside places just because you need those positions and you realize it, but not really in function. And a lot of times when you think about the cost of adding these types of services, we just can't wrap our minds around, okay, if I want to go out and hire a CFO, I'm going to have to pay him between, $100,000 and $500,000, and I just can't afford that. And so instead of finding ways to address it, you just kind of push it down the road and worry about it later. But what you can do by outsourcing that is actually get those services inside your organization for a much reduced rate. And not only that, again, oftentimes the expertise is greater than you would be able to actually hire and pay if you were hiring full-time employees. And so, again, the opportunity for these types of services to come in and actually begin addressing the needs of your organization are significant. So really the last piece that I wanted to hit on is what this can mean for you in terms of how information is provided. What kind of dashboards can you look at? How can they be customized for you? What kind of questions are you trying to answer as you look at the financial management of your organization? So you want somebody that's going to come in and partner with you to look at what are the issues of your organization and how can those best be addressed? And so, you hear it's at Suttle, we do that for several organizations. We've been able to help many organizations grow their business, grow their revenue streams, improve their bottom lines, get the financing that they need, strategically plan for the future, and a lot of different the things that organizations need in order to move from sole proprietor or maybe one or two employees to much larger organizations. And so, you just consider that for your practice, for your business, for your not-for-profit in terms of, how can this work for you? And so I want to turn it over to Drema to talk about that other advisory component as we think about human resources.
Thanks, Steve. Matt, I don't think I can move the slide yet. There we go. So I did a really quick introduction earlier, and for the sake of time, I will save a full introduction. But one of the things that I did want to say is that, in my role here at the firm, handling all of the HR issues internally and for our clients, I have been in HR 25 years. There's a lot I've seen. I worked in healthcare HR for about 11 years, and that's probably one of the craziest industries that a person in HR could ever work in. So there's a lot of things that I've seen. I have a master's degree in human resource management, and so I have the knowledge, the expertise to be able to help your business. And one of the things that I find is extremely helpful for me is one of my first jobs while I was actually still going to college was to process payroll. And I think it is so very important to point out the integration between payroll and human resources. There's so many similarities. They have to kind of work in conjunction with one another. Everything that's benefit related that has costs flows to payroll. Payroll runs into issues that may be benefit related and things like that. And so I think that is something that's very important to point out, that if your organization is utilizing Saundra's department for payroll services and then utilizing us for HR outsourcing as well, it's just very seamless and it works very well together. The other thing is, I mentioned a little bit of my background. Our team does have an additional master's degree HR professional. And so what we provide you is experienced HR professionals for a very small amount. If you're a small organization, you're not really going to be able to hire an experienced HR professional Likely there's someone in your organization that's wearing multiple hats. To Steve's point, that may be the CFO or controller hat, the president of the organization or the owner, the HR hat, maybe even the payroll hat. And so this outsourcing that we're talking about today will allow you to have these experienced professionals be part of your team and give you the opportunity to focus more on the strategic things that impact your organization. It also helps you with compliance. You know, there are a lot of compliance related issues around HR. This slide talks about a lot of the things that we can offer: compliance, employee relations, compensation, performance management, benefits, recruiting, onboarding, all those sorts of things. And I think Saundra or Matt earlier mentioned, you know, recruiting is such an issue now. And a lot of the advice from national consultants on recruiting is to maximize the employee experience. And so things like outsourcing the HR and having technology and experienced people for your staff to go to is one of the ways that you can really enhance that employee experience and hopefully retain your employees. We can also assist with recruiting, and so that's another thing that we can help you with. We can provide project basis HR consulting. So if you just have something that a project you want us to work on, maybe it is, if you don't have a handbook, you definitely need one. So maybe it's developing an employee handbook. If you have a handbook and it's sitting on a shelf and somebody put it together 20 years ago when your business started, maybe it's time to dust it off and get it updated. So we can help with project-based work like that. We can also provide full HR outsourcing. And so our staff here become your HR department. Your employees reach out to us when they have questions around benefits or any other things HR related. And we're not going to be taking control away from you for businesses or for decisions that impact your business. We are going to work with you and your employees. So, you know, if it's a disciplinary issue, we're going to tell you what legally you can or cannot do, and we're going to work with you to make sure that that happens. But we're also going to work with your employees when they have issues using their benefits, or, you know, if they're having a problem with their payroll, we're going to coordinate with payroll here and work through those sorts of things. And so, like I said, it's a very integrated approach to an employee experience. Saundra pointed out our technology stack, and Paychex was one of the softwares that's part of that technology stack. By utilizing this, we can, again, enhance that employee experience. This software will allow us to not only process the payroll-related items, but we can hire and onboard directly through the system. You know, in today's world, people want to do everything that they can on a mobile device. They don't want to go to a computer. They don't want to fill out paper forms. With Paychex, you have that ability. You can onboard employees through the mobile app, they can just log on to a desktop computer. We can track time and attendance, and that can either be vacation, sick leave. It can also be a clock in and out system. So if you have hourly employees and you want them to have a way to clock in and out to track their time, the system will do that. The system even has very sophisticated things like geofencing, if you're familiar with that. Once you get inside the fence parameters, it will clock you in and say, Drema's at work now, and it's 8:05. We can also work with Paychex on benefit administration and open enrollment. And so instead of filling out volumes of paperwork for a new employee or when it's open enrollment time, those sorts of things can also be handled electronically inside the Paychex system. So it's a very comprehensive way to handle kind of all things HR and payroll. So I'm not going to read this slide, but basically, like Steve said, HR and the CFO and controller, I mean, they're both crucial parts of your business. And we feel like providing that service to you is a way that we can allow you to focus more on your strategic and operational goals. Because like I said, we know we've heard from many of our clients, and we hear all the time that, I thought I was allowed to do this, or I just don't have anybody that knows HR. I've had a client say to me, I just want to pay people. I don't care whether they're exempt or non-exempt or whether they get overtime. I just want to pay people. I'm like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not quite that simplistic. The Department of Labor and the Fair Labor Standards Act kind of put some pretty tight parameters around how you pay people. And so we bring that expertise, and that way you can take off the HR hat and focus on the running your business hat. Just to wrap up today's session, putting outsourcing to work for you. So this slide talks a little bit about the numbers around outsourcing. Roughly 80% of small businesses plan to outsource, and roughly 300,000 U.S. jobs are outsourced each year. One thing I want to point out is our goal today, and our goal for our whole client accounting and advisory services, is not for you to take your employees away, to eliminate your employees and give that work to us. Our goal is to integrate with you and augment what you are already doing and the staff that you have. Now, it may also help you to keep from hiring people in the future, because, right now recruiting is extremely tough. And so that may help you. But I just want to assure everybody that our goal is not to say, okay, you can fire these 4 people now that you've hired us. That's not our goal at all. We want to augment what you currently have. We want to make sure that you are partnering with us so that we can help you in the areas where you may not be as strong or have the expertise. 3 ways that we do that, our partnership with you: we have to have great communication. We want to make sure that if you're outsourcing to us for any or all of the areas that we discussed, that we have a designated contact person. We're going to meet and communicate with that person regularly. We're going to have structured meetings. We're going to review materials. Like Steve said, we have dashboards. We want to go over that. We want to make sure that someone at your business is understanding the things that we are doing. And that leads to mutual engagement. We want to partner with you. We don't want to just take this work and tell you to turn your back and never look at it again. We want to be a strategic partner with you. We want you to review the reports, the dashboards. We want you to ask us questions, because our end game is for you to be able to expand your business and make this a way for you to be more profitable. Again, back to that technology stack, it is very important. It is so imperative that our engagement partners take our technology recommendations, because that's how we can provide these services best to you. It's our most efficient, our most cost-effective way to be able to take those things off of your plate and be able to perform those services for your business. So what's next? You've heard about client accounting, you've heard about CFO controller services, and you've heard about HR outsourcing. So it's time for you to think about what your pain points are. What are the tasks that your business needs to firm up, or maybe you're actually lacking it completely. Think about how those relate to both your short and long-term goals, and then give us a call. All of us are available. We're happy to sit down with you, either one-on-one if you are looking only at a specific area. We'll sit down with you together if you're looking at multiple areas, and we will talk about your business needs and how we think that we can help you the best. That first phone call, just give us a call. We're happy to sit down. We're not going to bill you for that, and we're going to work with you to determine what the next step is for you to take to engage us.